Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. Back to the Frame Rate, where we watch and discuss films on VOD and streaming platforms for your entertainment. I'm your host, Nathan Schur, and I'm here with Eli Escobar, Sam Cole, and Brianna Butterworth. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
How
how are
is
you?
how is everybody?
Just dandy.
Not bad.
I'm
Not
great.
bad. Can't
Everyone-
complain. Can't complain over here.
Everyone have a great week, I hope.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty good.
It's only
It's
Monday.
good.
All right, good.
Just getting
Well,
too dark too quickly.
I
Sunday
know.
was incredible. Oh, no, it was fine. It was good. Yeah.
It gets dark now at 4:40, 4:30. I don't like it when this happens. And our bodies have not adjusted yet to this.
Nope.
I don't like it when
early-
it happens, but I do like getting that extra hour of at night when it's like 2 a.m. and it goes back to 1 and you're like, yeah, I love that. April is the one where you lose the night hours and it like you get more light at the end of the day, but that adjustment for some reason is harder for me.
My
That's just-
problem is I
yeah.
have a 6-year-old who doesn't seem to understand how clocks work. And,
Ooh, yeah.
clocks move back, but in her world, the clocks haven't changed. So she still gets up at some crazy early time now. Still it doesn't work. All right. So, yes. So we are continuing our Noir-Vember, our foray into the world of 80s Neo-Noir. Last week, we reviewed American Gigolo, but this week we move ahead 1 year on the calendar. And I know. And we are going to be reviewing Body Heat. And Sam, do you have some? Well, you know what? I'm going to start off with the trailer for Body Heat, which, if anyone is familiar with the trailer, is I'm not going to play much of this because it's really just some wind chimes and some loud noises. But here it is. Wait for it. Yeah, I'm going to cut it off there because it's really about 2 minutes of that.
Was that really the trailer?
Finally,
Yeah.
It is
Yes.
the worst trailer I've seen. Okay.
finally,
I'm
a
sorry.
movie with something to say. Finally.
Yes, I searched and searched for any, like, not even just a trailer, but like a TV spot, anything, and there is nothing on YouTube or anywhere on the internet that's
Wow.
anything more. There's interviews, there's all this other stuff, but there's no publicity of any kind of no TV spots at all or other trailers for this, other than this little mood piece about Body. So, anyways. That is the trailer. A little 20 seconds of it at least. It just goes on and on and on. But before we continue, let's get some movie facts for what we're going to watch. Sam, take it away.
Woo-hoo. So the movie that we are discussing this evening is called Body Heat. It came out in 1981. Now, this was Lawrence Kasdan's directorial debut. And if that name sounds familiar to any of you listeners, Lawrence Kasdan is the screenwriter behind classics such as Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Empire Strikes Back, arguably the best Star Wars movie ever made. I would definitely be in that camp. Also,
The best
this
Indiana
film-
Jones movie too.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Hey, absolutely. That's true. One could not agree more. And
Or Crystal Skull. Are you still thinking Crystal Skull is right there, up there too? Or?
the monkey swinging on the vine scenes is what makes Crystal Skull the best. You know what I mean? It's like all that other stuff with the Ark and the Nazis. When Shia LaBeouf swings on the vines, it's like, this is number one. That was tough to lie. Anyway,
Continue, Sam.
So this movie was actually edited by Carol Littleton, who actually edited E.T., The Manchurian Candidate, and Dreamcatcher. The DP was Richard Klein, who had done King Kong, Star Trek, and Breathless. This movie did well. It had a budget of $9 million and it box office grossed worldwide over $24 million in 1981. This stars William Hurt, Kathleen Turner, Richard Crenna of Rambo fame, Ted Danson, who I'll comment on later because I particularly liked him in this movie, Mickey Rourke, and J.A. Preston. A couple things about this movie. Kasdan actually insisted on casting unknowns in order to give the audience an opportunity to discover the great talent for the very first time. Now, we know all these actors now in the future, but at that time, I could kind of see what he was doing with that. Interestingly enough, there was a SAG strike back then that caused delays, and it pushed the filming to November 1980 when Florida was cold. And this movie is called Body Heat, so it was supposed to be warm. So the crew actually implemented various elements to depict a heat wave, including adding steam, running fans, spraying actors with water, and using other visual effects. So movie magic, because you would never know that watching it. Actually, interesting thing about Kathleen Turner, she was actually a waitress at the time, trying to afford an apartment in LA and New York. And once the film wrapped, she asked for her old job back until the movie came out. We all, of course, know now that Kathleen Turner, turned out to be a huge star. And so there's lots of more takeaways we could discuss, but that's just kind of the gist of it for now. And to give you one last thing, I'm a big fan of Roger Ebert, and he actually loves this movie. He said, you watch the movie the first time from his point of view and the second time from hers. Every scene plays two ways. Agree with that? Body Heat is good enough to make film noir play like we hadn't seen it before. So yeah, very interesting. And that's just kind of a gist, a lot more to discuss about the film, but an overview of Body Heat.
Thank you, Sam.
Free to include anything I didn't include, because there's a lot of good stuff on this movie. I just I don't want to drone on too long, but yeah.
No, there's
more to say. Yeah,
there's a lot. I think we'll get into it when we start discussing this. So let's get into it, and I'm going to turn it right back over to you, Sam. I would love to get your basic initial thoughts on Body Heat.
Sam, would you like to give your review on Body Heat? Yes, I would, Sam. Thank you so much. You're the man. I know. So anyway, I enjoyed this movie. We had last week, for those of you who hadn't seen this, we had watched American Gigolo, and I thought it was okay, but I found it kind of cold, and I had trouble getting into it. I was worried that this movie would have the same effect on me. And from the get-go, I was pleasantly surprised, because I'll watch any movie, any genre, any type of story, as long as if I can connect, or if it has a certain pace that captures my attention. This movie certainly did that. From the get-go, I liked the story, and I thought that William Hurt and Kathleen Turner were great. I would say overall I liked it a lot. I would say my reservations are more, it's not dated in a bad way, but there are certain technical things that kind of show that it's from 1981, where there's some sound effects or just some like style of music, some minor pacing issues, but I enjoyed it overall. If I had to give a stars to this, trying to be critical, I was gonna give it a solid 3, but I did like it a little more than that. I would give it 3.5, because first of all, I thought the twist was really clever towards the end, who Kathleen Turner turns out to be. And it also shows, you look back at her performance in a whole different way. And so some moments where I thought she was actually kind of stiff, that actually is her character being manipulative. So it's like a nuanced and great. I like Ted Danson a lot. I thought he was very kind of offbeat. And I have to say that one of my favorite scenes in the movie is probably Ted Danson and William Hurt talking on a dock at night. Yes. Towards the end of the movie, when Ted Danson
great scene.
Is so clearly aware that William Hurt is guilty on some level, but Ted Danson's personality is just basically sunshine and kind of goofy throughout the whole movie. And that's the one moment where he's looking through William Hurt. And there's a great line where Hurt was like, "Do I need a lawyer?" And he's like, "You're talking to him now." And I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah.
That's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
disappointment.
But I
So I
love
would
that.
say,
But not just to piggyback on that. I love the fact that you've got this lawyer and you've got a district attorney that are best friends in this. And that, first of all, that's a rare thing. I feel like I don't know if that happens much in real life, but the dynamic between them and the other friend in this, the Oscar Grace's character, is that what it is? Yeah, J.A. Preston. The three of them, they're all their scenes together, that dynamic was just gold to me, the way they all play off each other. But I continue, Sam.
no, they seemed like real friends. And when they got more and more suspicious and like William Hurt was like backed into a corner, I was, I felt involved in this in a way that I didn't feel involved with Richard Gere's situation, the other film. They're different movies, but I like seeing stars that are known for other things, at least other things that I know them for, doing something different. So I'm a big fan of the Rambo movies, and Richard Crenna is like a general, and he's like Rambo's mentor, and he's like, Rambo is the best, and he's like this.
That's all
In
I
this
could think
movie,
of.
he was so different. I loved his performance. I thought he was great.
Sam,
So
all I could think of is Colonel Troutman when I'm seeing Richard Crenna on screen.
yeah, he's like, you have to do what it takes. Rambo is the best, and if anyone tries to upset my wife, I will kill them without hesitation. But so I would say overall, I did enjoy it. I would say the one thing, and it didn't really bother me that much, was I understood that, like, Kathleen Turner was seductive and like drove William Hurt like in crazy head over heels. I thought his leap to let's kill her husband, to me, seemed a bit quick, because it's like, here's this guy that's ready to murder for her. And I know they had to do that for the story. To me, that just seemed kind of like a jump. But I would say overall, I enjoyed this film. The only reason I wouldn't give it a higher rating is because I thought it was very good. I enjoyed it. I don't think it being an 81 hurts it in any way. I don't think it rises above or subverts the genre, or is like, this is a game changing film noir movie. I just think it's a solid, good film noir movie that I did enjoy from start to finish. And when I saw the opening title and the opening scene, I thought I was not going to enjoy it. I was like, no, not this again. And then it engaged me. So three and a half solid stars for me. I would recommend. Yeah.
Thank you,
Me.
Sam. All right, we're going to move to Ellie. Tell us about your thoughts on Body Heat.
Well, let me see. Where should I start? I don't feel like this movie did anything for me. Again, um, William, is it William Hurt?
Yes.
Hurt,
Yeah.
hurt my whole 2 hours. No, I'm just kidding. Um, he's kind of cute. He's kind of cute in his
Huh.
own way. He's got a body that is okay. I don't know the technical part. They really made me believe they were in the heat. I kind of went to get a lot of water. I don't find the scenes steamy enough. Um, you're not gonna get horny out of it. It's just stupid. Oh, I said the word stupid. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
If they were trying to make me feel like a little bit of something like sexually, it didn't. Okay, it failed. As to the love story, because what's her name? Rancine, is it her name? Rancine,
Ned Racine and
Maddie.
Maddie Walker.
Maddie. Yeah.
right? So if she loved him and he loved her, I did not feel the Notebook essence in there.
Well,
There's
I
no.
don't think it was trying to go for
Did
that,
you
though.
did you like the femme fatale aspect? Like, did you like her as like a manipulative woman? Like the
I think
court
she
part,
did.
the legal
I
part.
do like her performance because she made me angry. And if
There
she
you
can
go.
make me feel angry because she's like, I never want my son to meet a woman like that, because I will come out with an axe and I will like cut her in little pieces.
So
But
it's effective in
but
some
it
way.
was she was very effective. As
Okay.
to her performances, I don't really care. He's cute. Uh, so overall, for me, this movie didn't do anything. I don't think
Yeah.
I enjoy noir, whatever you call those movies, as much as you guys do. I'm a serial killer type of person. Ooh. And comedy, but having said that, I think there was I did like the cafeteria and drinking coffee. I like Stella. I thought she was cute. What
Mhm.
else? Ted Danson was funny. I like him. He was
He
really
was
Mhm.
kind
cute.
of fun and quirky in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
him. I like his performance. Um, and I had to tell you the very, very first scene when the first time they hook up, when he throws that chair into the window.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I
Okay,
love it.
it's like, have you ever seen a soap opera in Spanish?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's like,
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
kiss
yes.
me. Oh.
Yes. That's, I think,
Or like a telenovela in
dripping
Brazil or
with
something.
melodrama.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I just started laughing because the way she's just looking at him,
You gotta laugh.
like
Yeah.
waiting for that share. Wait, I'm like, what are you doing? You're just gonna sit there and wait. Why didn't you just open the door? Like, she could have just opened the
Oh,
door. But
it's never really addressed. Like the cleanup for that afterwards, and
I
That's
guess
not
it's
sexy. That's not
I did like the
she's got to
shyness.
explain to Edmund afterwards. Yeah, there was a big wind gust that blew down the door. I mean, how do you explain that
I have to
afterwards?
say, Mickey. Is it Mickey? Mickey.
Mickey
Yeah.
Rourke.
All right,
Mickey
he's
Rourke.
hot. All right.
Oh,
He did
Oh, he's
great
oh,
in
bad
this.
boy.
Mickey
Bad
Rourke
boy
is
hot.
so cool in this movie,
Yeah.
Okay,
and
Yeah.
it actually made me sad, actually, because it made me just realize how
Same.
far he's fallen when I
I
see
What we've
the
know.
lost with
young Mickey
Mickey.
Rourke. It's
I know.
I totally agree, and he's so baby faced, and his voice is so he's
He's
soft as a
so
pillow.
he's just
Like he,
adorable.
Character.
I just couldn't get enough of him, and I wish he'd been in the movie a lot more. But I don't think he was well known there then yet, right?
No,
I
this
think
is
he
new
looks
from
great, and what's funny is of all these, we got some just terrible people in this movie, but Mickey is the one real convicted felon in this, but he's the one guy that is legitimately concerned
Yeah.
about Ned's
Exactly.
well-being in this, and he would
Yeah.
went as far as to offer
he's so likable.
yeah, he is. He went as far as to like offer to to do the job, the arsonist job for Ned.
I
And
know,
he's the
because he's like,
nicest guy in this
you're
movie.
gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get in trouble. And
He has
I just wanted to slap him really bad. Not Mickey. Hurt.
but
I want to
but
slap him.
I want to go back to Mickey Rourke. He has the line of the movie though, and I'm
Yeah.
going to paraphrase this. He says something like that: "You've got like 50 ways you're going to screw this up, and if you think of 25 of them, then you're a genius, and you ain't no genius." You remember who told me that, and he
Yeah.
delivers this so earnestly,
Yeah.
and he honestly just doesn't want to see his friend get burned. But what I love is that obviously this is a reference to something that Ned told him when he was
Mm.
bailing him out
Yeah.
beforehand. It's
Mhm.
never said, but the audience can infer that, and I just love that about this film, that the audience can make that leap. So I
Yeah.
think
I
So
thought
anyway.
his character was straight out of The Outsiders. Like every time I
Mm.
saw him,
right,
I wanted to be like,
right.
"Stay gold, pony
Oh my
boy."
god, I loved him. I was like, oh hello, who's this? Mickey? What? Oh my god. But
Mhm.
yeah, so there were some parts of the movie that I didn't connect to the movie at all. Not the love story, not the sex. There was I don't know. It's just like a soap opera to me. That's how I saw it. But I did like Catherine Turner's performance in this film. I like that she made me angry that I wanted to slap her really bad because I wanted to like, don't do that. Or hurt. I wanted to go in there and be like, don't be stupid. She's playing you, man. She's playing you.
Yeah.
And
Did you want to hurt? Sorry.
I wanted to hurt her.
Sorry.
So I give it 2 stars.
2 stars. All right.
I will say that when Hurt
Honestly,
kills
more generous.
Richard Crenna, I didn't. It's a technical thing. He just like hits him once over the head with like a broken chair or something. And my first thought
Wood.
was, man,
It's a
it
piece of wood.
would take more than that. Like I'm not like sadistic, but I was like, no, you should have like bludgeoned him more. He just goes, "Pert,"
It's a
and
sloppy,
it just
assault, and I kind
yeah.
of like that because I
I
love
do
when
too.
things go sideways. It reminded me of like a Coen Brothers type of attack
It's
where
like
like
Blood
nothing
Simple.
really went. Yeah,
It's the little things, like that's what I mean about the technical thing. Like the sound effect of the wood hitting was like 81
Thump.
audio, whereas like today
Mm.
you would have heard like, and it was just those little technical
Yeah.
things where I was like, ooh, but it
Well,
was
but
still good.
if you hit the head in the right space, you can hurt somebody badly and to death. So
That's
I want
true.
the listeners to know that before the show started recording, Ellie told us that we were all too dark.
I got tired of being a serial killer because my basement is so full now. I was like, all right, I
Yep,
just got it
yep,
out of my system,
Freeze
like.
yep,
skull.
yep.
Freeze your skull.
All right, B. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Body Heat.
I really like it. I mean, this is a genre that's super in my lane. I've seen this before. I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed it now. I think I'm a little more critical of it on second watch, but not to the point where where I wouldn't watch it a third time. I think everyone in this movie has great chemistry. Everyone, Ted Danson, Officer Grace, obviously the two leads, like everyone when they're on screen together does such a great job. Even when we meet Marianne Simpson, which by the way, you have to love that the same guy who directed this movie and wrote Luke, I Am Your Father also wrote, Hey lady, wanna that's pretty
Yeah.
great. um yeah, it's I think it's a movie that's really sexy and really about inference and assumptions. um it doesn't show a lot. It doesn't show a lot of violence, and it also doesn't show a lot of gratuitous sex. It's all about what you as a viewer take away from it. I totally
Mm.
agree that when you watch it again from both sides, you can really see how both sides are playing, and I think Kathleen Turner knocks it out of the park. She is a delight. I would watch her all the time. There's a couple of things like what you were talking about, Sam, that feel sort of played up, and I think it's in the style of the genre. I just don't know if in the 40 years from noir, classic noir, to this neo-noir genre, it's translated as well. That sort of more stilted style of acting that William Hurt
Exactly.
gets
Yeah.
into. Yeah, so I watched Double Indemnity earlier today because this is Double Indemnity, Billy Wilder's movie. Body Heat was based on this. And like Barbara Stanwyck's eyebrows do not move in that movie. She
No.
is like, she's very, very stilted. And that sort of style of acting was really common in classic noir. And I think William Hurt taps into that a little bit more. And I don't always think it's successful. Some of that is the chair moment. It comes across less passionate than I think they maybe wanted it to. But I also think it happens at the end of the movie, because when they're all on their own, you lose that chemistry. So you lose the thing that's making the movie work so well. So him in jail with the eyes like just busting open, and
Mhm.
him just thinking of things on his own. Even the scene with Kathleen Turner, the final scene, I just think once the people who are working together so well in the movie are apart, I think the film sort of falls apart a little bit for me
I
there.
agree. I think with Hurt and Turner apart for most of the second half of the movie, it loses a
It
lot of its momentum.
lumbers.
It does a little bit. Yeah.
It just lumbers to the end because it's so well paced,
It's just
especially
plot,
compared to
plot, plot,
American
plot.
Gigolo.
Yeah.
I did think it was a
Yeah,
little cheesy when he like pulls out and he's like driving in the fog and he pulls out and he like pulls out in front of a truck and then he like almost hits another car. Like that was good, but it had that deliberate pacing of like at that time for that audience, they might have been like, huh. And for me, it was like,
yeah.
Bert, like that's what it felt like. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it actually did a great job at pacing the relationship between Matt and Ned. I thought that was, especially compared to Double Indemnity, because going back to Billy Wilder's movie this afternoon, um, they decided to kill him like when they first meet. They were like, this guy's gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They obviously don't do that. They build them up together, but I think the ending loses its spark. I think it limps towards the end. Um, the first half is more than enough to make up for it, and I just don't think it needed that one final twist. I think it was fine without it. We cut it a little bit shorter. We keep them maybe together. I don't know.
Yeah, and I thought William Hurt was good. I just because he was a lawyer, I was surprised how quickly he wanted to do murder. I was
How
like,
dumb
man,
he is.
you know all the
Yeah.
problems, and you do this.
He's not a smart lawyer. It's called out many
And he's
times.
I guess
horny.
not.
Like,
Yeah.
He's not.
Must be
Kathleen,
all
Yeah.
the cigarette smoking that's making him
yeah, oh
cloudy.
my God. And like
So
Kathleen
so
Turner
much
stands up in
so many
that white
cigarettes.
dress. Kathleen Turner stands up in that white dress, and you're like, yes, I will go to hell for you. I will be in a swamp in Florida for you. Like 100%, I'll follow you into there. You want a guy dead? Rock and roll. So I think it's pretty plausible. I do think they could have done a little more to show him as a doofus, but I think if he went too dumb, none of it would have seemed like his ideas. She was really making it feel like it was his ideas.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a line that had to be tread. Interestingly, Kasdan and Hurt were talking about, at the time this movie came out, there was a lot of blockbusters, and Kasdan comes from that world, and he sounded kind of resentful of them. He was like, I wanted a think piece. I wanted an intellectual movie. And it's kind of funny that this would be considered intellectual just based on how many shirtless scenes there are.
Right.
But it is.
I mean, for a
It is a
lawyer,
little more
he didn't do any lawyering in this movie.
I just
He did,
enjoyed that
like,
I could
zero
actually like follow the story in this, because sometimes film noir prides itself on making everything like, who's this? Why is he
It
talking about this?
obfuscates
And
it.
this movie I could like navigate. And so I enjoyed that. I
There's
don't need to
no
be
B
spoon
plot.
fed, but
Yeah.
There's no what
No,
plot?
I
What'd you
love
say?
that. There's
There's
no
no
B
what?
plot. It's just no B plot.
Exactly. Yeah, that helped
It's
me.
just
Yeah.
the story. I totally agree. Anyway, I really liked it. I'm going back and forth between 3.5 and 4 on this. I'm a little torn. 3.75, I guess, is how I cheat.
Cheat us! Time to eat
All right.
Cheetos.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's my turn.
It-
This film is pulpy with a capital P. I
Hell
think
yeah.
it has two stellar leading performances from Hurt and Turner, who are clearly 1,000% committed to this, and a supporting cast that I think, for a change, the filmmakers spend significant time with and develop an attachment that we're allowed to develop an attachment to. Not only does it pay homage to classic film noir, especially Double Indemnity, which B mentioned, is my favorite Billy Wilder film, by the way, and it has its own distinct personality, reflecting on postmodern elements. By the way, I have a top 25 list from on Letterboxd of my favorite. I think he did about 25, 27 films. It's on Letterboxd, and I put that. I think I mentioned it a couple months ago, and you can
Yeah, you did your
I gotta
big
get on.
record.
I still
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on Letterboxd, but when I get on Letterboxd, you can friend
Yeah.
Letterboxd people, right? Like,
Yeah.
can I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I
Yeah.
want to be your
I'm
friend,
on-
Sam.
I'm on
I'm gonna do it.
Letterboxd, but I never go
You're there?
on it.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm gonna check it out, because I'm gonna look at your list, like Nathan and your guys' list, and I'll see movies that I haven't seen, and then I'll remember. Like, it's gonna be. I'm excited anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
A plug for our listeners. We have a list for our recommendation shelf on Letterboxd.
Woo.
I think I also one time had a top 25 list from the 80s I created a while ago. And I don't think Body Heat was on it, but I think after this rewatch, it's definitely cracking my top 25.
real good.
I loved this movie. And now seeing this probably for the first time in it's probably been like 8-9 years. It's skyrocketing to the top. I really, really enjoyed watching it this time. As I'm watching this movie again, I couldn't help compare this movie to what we watched last week, American Gigolo. And as much as I really did enjoy Paul Schrader's neo-noir acid-lit vision of LA at the dawn of the 80s, the first half of that film was very much an exercise in minimalism to tell its story in many ways. Obviously, Richard Gere was rocking some amazing suits and driving a great car.
He looks so
and
fly.
and the locations were gorgeous, but the storytelling was stripped down. It was a study of identity and isolationism. Body Heat, in comparison, in the neo-noir genre, is like comparing a Terrence Malick film to Die Hard. I felt
Right.
the opening scene to the closing scene, the credits of this film just cooked. I especially love the scenes in the beginning where William Hurt and Kathleen Turner are on that pier and later in the bar. I think if you're unfamiliar with film noirs from the 40s, this dialogue could come off cheesy, but it's 100% throwback to that
It's
era.
straight out of the genre.
The sexual tension in these scenes is through the roof. yeah, it's melodramatic and over the top, but undeniably entertaining. Watching these two, who I think have just terrific chemistry on screen. I love the setting for this film, the Southern Florida small town going through this heat wave, which plays such a huge factor in this movie. They do a great job selling this aspect of the film as part of the production design. Everything is wet and sticky. Even though I know this was during a cold Florida, they did such an awesome job just selling that vibe. I can feel the heat radiating off the screen, and as we all know, when it gets unbearably hot out, it gets uncomfortable, and I think I could picture it playing a role in Ned's decisions. The guy can't think straight. He's allured by this temptress, and I feel he's aided by the inability to think straight from the heat. I feel like that played
He's
a
in
part in
hell.
this. He is.
Yeah.
So I love this movie. I was in the bag for this movie, 100%. I give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is
Whoa.
easily, possibly in my top 10 of the 80s.
I will
It is
say
way up there.
to throw American Gigolo a line. I like this a lot better than American Gigolo. I will say that I thought American Gigolo's cinematography had a step up on this film, but I enjoyed this movie a lot more, if that makes sense. Just
Yeah.
American Gigolo's, some of the visual shots, they were cold, but there was a real look. This movie was great, and I thought the cinematography was good. I just technically liked some of the American Gigolo cinematography better, but I enjoyed this movie much more as a whole. I
Mhm.
would rather watch this movie again, and I probably will now that I know the twist, and the second viewing will add more. So I like it much more than Gigolo for
I would
sure.
not be
You know,
watching this movie again.
it's interesting that that you brought up some of the social mores, because I think both of these movies are Reagan year movies, or just they're around.
They are.
So I think
Mhm.
you have like this boom of neo noir in this era, and I know it's a Double Indemnity remake basically, but I think it's a lot like Detour too. If you're a classic noir fan, just that sort of um, defeatist, just very like defeatist and isolated, and that melancholic attitude.
Okay, yeah.
This movie had that, but it also had flair. There was more like energy
Well, it
to it.
had
Like
people.
it had people. I found like American Gigolo like downright like enervated at times. It was just like
Mm.
brrr. This was like bouncier and just
Oh,
there was more
Lasagna.
to chew on there.
So I
No,
want to talk a
Lasagna.
little bit about the final act of this movie, because Sam, I think you said that you could follow the how the plots unfolded.
Yeah,
I actually did struggle a little bit. I found myself pausing a couple times and rewinding a couple scenes because I don't think it's clearly spelled out. And I actually didn't mind that, because I like it sometimes where the audience does have to use their brain sometimes to figure things out. And I think I had to. And one of the things that I found curious in this is that I think the movie actually could have possibly done it differently or done a better job helping the audience make the connection. How did Ned figure this out? Because I think it is kind of a leap.
Mhm.
All of a sudden, like, he's in jail and he figured out, oh, she's still alive, and he somehow makes the connection to look up a
Marianne.
yearbook. Was this a seed planted somewhere early in the movie that he knew where Maddie went to high school?
I missed that. And I wasn't quite sure. That may have been a little bit of a leap. The one plant that I really did pick up on was towards the end of the movie when one of his friends was talking to him. They were trying to find the person who the maid took the glasses, but then the friend or the other lawyer, and I wish I could remember it more specifically, but he said something like he said something specific that immediately made me suspect Kathleen Turner, that she was in on trying to get him in trouble. And that, I wish I could remember the line specifically. That was clear to me, crystal clear, where I literally followed that dialogue and went, wait a minute, she's not being truthful about this. And that's when I suspected her manipulation. And so based off that, even though him finding the yearbook was a leap, to me, I was able to deal with it based off the previous setup that came early on in the third act, because I went, oh, wait a minute. When they were hunting people down, it was clear that he didn't have all the facts, and his lawyer friends were getting information that made her a lot more suspicious. There was a specific scene. I can remember it. I just can't remember how the wording went, but that was like a click for me. Yeah.
I actually had a question too about that was a little unclear for me, and maybe somebody else picked up on it because I was getting a little distracted by the end. In the gazebo, when Ned mistakes the Marianne character for Maddie, she's introduced as Marianne, and
Yes.
Maddie is Maddie in that scene, and you sort of get that thing Roger Ebert is talking about, where she says, "Oh, that's my friend Marianne. She's like a sister, or she would do anything for me, or she loves me," something like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you find out, oh, well, maybe, she assumed that was actually Maddie, and she assumed Maddie's identity. Her real name is Marianne, so they like switch names, and maybe the real Maddie is blackmailing her. And I was just like, wait, what? That feels so sudden.
This is what we should discuss here, because I think this needs to, because I think it can be confusing. So my interpretation of what happened here is this was a long con for the Kathleen Turner character. Obviously, she made a deal with her high school friend Marianne.
Marry a rich guy, split the money.
I want to marry this guy, but I have this dark past. I want to switch identities with you. I'm going to pay you off to switch identities. That's how I interpreted this. And in the gazebo, if you notice, it's really quick. And I actually went back and watched the scene again. She hands Marianne an envelope. It's no attention drawn to it at all. It's a very quick moment. They actually make a little peck. They kiss each other. Hands her envelope. Bye. Have a good time, you two. It's a quick little moment. Hands her envelope. Obviously. She walks off. That is a payoff.
Yeah. I thought it was something like she was just also burning this friend that she owed money to in the process.
Didn't she kill her? I thought she killed her.
Yes,
Didn't Kathleen Turner kill her later?
I thought to like stop the payoff. Right?
So here's the thing, but this is the interpretation. So their deal is probably on the up and up, or where she was going to do this, but Kathleen Turner decided that I don't want to keep paying off this person, but I can get rid of both William Hurt and my friend at the same time. Stop paying her to keep this fake identity by killing Marianne and William Hurt in the boathouse. So I don't think that she was being blackmailed. That's the way I interpreted it. This was just a way of her just cutting off any loose end as well, and stop having to pay somebody that she didn't have to.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. I thought the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, blackmail just came from the Wikipedia because I was confused about it.
But maybe
I have to go look it up. But
it's never fully explained. But it could. That's another.
I like that we're not. Yeah, I like that we're not spoon fed the information. I don't want to know too much more. But then the end happens, and it feels like a lot happened for a little bit. I would have liked a little more fleshing out on that.
And I knew there had to be something, because when she goes and she's like, "Okay, I'll go check myself," and the boathouse, like the gazebo, blows up. I'm like, there's no way that she set that and committed suicide like that. I was like, no.
And did she have every single possibility planned out? Like, she rigged the boathouse to blow up, thinking that Ned was going to go in there and blow up. But when he didn't, first of all, how did she blow up the boathouse? Did she have a second option to blow it up without blowing up herself?
She could have just thrown something at the door. You know what I mean? As the door just moves, it's rigged with the explosive. You know,
I get.
She just seemed really calm when her plan didn't go according to plan.
A criminal mastermind. Seriously.
That's the one thing where her mastermind level is so mastermindy. You're like, okay, yes, you could be that much of a mastermind, but it's more of like
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised what women can do when they set their minds to do it.
That's true. I just mean that the level of mastermindedness is like,
we're good.
Dastardly.
We're good.
And the other thing is that she set Ned up way long ago when she learned about this what was the other? What was the case that he screwed up early on, which is like a
100%.
throwaway scene in the very beginning that you don't even
Mm.
supposed to pay
About
much
the
mind
will.
to. Yes,
Yeah.
about the will. But at the very beginning of the movie, there's a scene where he's ridiculed by some judge or something like that. I think that's
Mm.
somehow ties into it, and it comes back to bite him. But like, I completely forgot all about that.
Yeah, it just requires like perfect patience, and like there's so many things that can go wrong, and to do all that,
Yeah.
it's like super
I
level, like yeah,
And she
I
knew that
wonder
this
if
guy was
some
going to
of
find
these
her.
yeah.
I wonder if some of this was cut. I wonder if there was some of this filmed and it was cut.
Maybe
I don't know.
possibly.
I haven't
Yeah.
found any. I tried to find as much as I could interviews
Same.
from Lawrence Kasdan or William Hurt about this. I haven't found anything about missing deleted scenes or more that was not shot or was written for this. I haven't found
Mm.
anything. I don't know. I'd be
I don't know.
curious.
Seems
Yeah.
like a messy story to me.
It ain't
I
perfect by far. It is not.
No, but
No.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I am kind of sad that it lost like every award it was nominated for.
Gee, I wonder
And
why.
it lost to some real stinkers, but it was like it seemed like it was in some competition with other awards. I was like, really? I don't remember those movies at all. And this is kind of a seminal
What movies? Maybe I
neo-noir.
know those movies.
It lost the Golden Globe for New Star of the Year to Pia Zadora for Butterfly, which I haven't seen, but I've
Haven't
also
seen
never
that
heard
either.
of.
Yeah,
Don't know.
I've heard of Body Heat. It lost to Warren Beatty's movie Reds.
But Reds
twice.
is really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is it? I haven't seen it.
I like Reds. Yeah.
Best picture went to Chariots of Fire that year.
Yeah, okay.
Best
That's a good
director
movie.
went
It was.
best director went to Warren Beatty for Reds. Didn't get nominated for much. William Hurt did not get nominated.
Yeah.
Kathleen Turner did not get nominated.
Reds
It
is
lost
perfect, but it's
the.
kind of epic. That's yeah.
It lost
the Academy, though. They never get
BAFTA
it
to
right.
Gandhi. It lost the
Gandhi?
BAFTA to Gandhi. Yeah, which
Gandhi came out in 82. So
Yeah,
it was a year
Gandhi
later.
beat E.T. for Best Picture, but I don't know if E.T. was nominated. I thought it was, but
Yeah, but I like Gandhi.
Gandhi's good.
I don't think Body
Yeah.
Heat got any nominations. I'm not seeing any nominations for Body Heat. I could be wrong, but I just kind of went through
not for which one? What are you looking for?
I'm looking at Body Heat for any. I was looking at Academy Awards. I didn't see any. I didn't look at
Oh no!
Golden
So it's
Globes.
nominated for a BAFTA. It was nominated for Edgar Allan Poe, Golden
Ah.
Globes, Writers Guild of America, and the
Okay.
Los Angeles Film
Did it get
Awards.
any technical awards like cinematography? Any nominations like that?
No.
Yeah, the cinematography was good. It's just like American Gigolo was like cinematography city. Like
I
Yeah.
think they ran it mostly for like newcomer roles, like those kinds of awards.
Yeah.
Well, at least it got a newcomer.
It didn't win. It didn't
Oh.
win. They just ran it. Didn't win any award. It was nominated for 6 awards and didn't win any of them.
Well, I'd like to
Bummer.
move on
Academy not
to
horny
what
enough.
each of us have for our MVP for Body Heat. And this could be an actor, somebody on the cast and crew, or a scene, or a prop, or anything. Let's share what we have for that. Sam, would you like to go first, please?
I gotta say, just because he stood out to me, I would have to go with Ted Danson, even though he's not like the most prominent role like in the film. The reason that I liked him so much is because I just know him so much from other types of roles and from Cheers and all that stuff.
No,
So
everybody knows his name.
exactly. That was good. Here's the thing. He's not like clearly not the most important part of this movie. He's a supporting character. I just was impressed with his performance because of its nuance and because of that scene on the docks at night. I just thought he was an interesting character. Is he the most important character in the movie? No, definitely not. But I'm just picking him because I just thought his performance was definitely of note and well done.
Yeah,
And I
it
just
was
thought
great.
he was like, he seemed like a real, they all did, but he seemed like a real person to me. So that's why I picked him for that.
Awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
Ellie, what is your MVP? Was it the closing credits?
I struggle with that, but I must say it was Catherine. Is it Catherine or Kathleen?
Kathleen.
Okay, so
Romancing the Stone was coming up, sir.
it was Turner's moment when she when they say goodnight. She walks in. He's supposed to leave, but then he comes back, looks at the window, and she's standing there staring at him. And he breaks the window. Not the breaking of the window, but that moment when he walks up to her and she's just like this.
For our listeners out there, I'm so sorry you can't see this, but
And I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? And then all I thought was like, oh, the drama, the drama just for one kiss. So wasn't romantic, but that I give it to her because she just
she's going
she
for it.
sold it. She sold it.
Yeah. Yep. B, what do you got for your MVP?
Baby.
Kathleen Turner. Just Kathleen Turner all day. I thought she crushed this role. She was made for it. And you see hints of her tapping back into it in the future, like in War of the Roses. You can kind of see
Movie's
hints
awesome.
of performance. It's such a good movie.
I wish that was on. It's not quite film noir, but I wish we could. I love that movie.
I love War of the Roses.
We can watch it anyway. We can just watch it. Yeah, I thought Kathleen Turner, but I wanted to give like a shout out of recognition to Kathleen Turner's pencil skirts as well, because they did a lot of work in this movie.
She wore a lot of white, that's for sure.
Yeah, because it's
nods
sexy,
also
Ellie.
to Barbara Stanwyck also, because she has a dress.
Yeah, that white
in
dress.
Double Indemnity, which I think it was definitely a direct homage to.
Yep.
All right, everyone's stealing my thunder, but I'd say, here's the thing though. I could easily say the scene where William Hurt tosses that deck chair through the window, but it's so damn obvious. I feel like I've seen that clip a dozen times during Academy Awards, during those movie montages. That's like a go-to thing for them. And, there are many juicy scenes to pick from, but I want to go with what is my favorite supporting actor performance in this film, and that is one Mickey Rourke. And the reason is because seeing him so young and so healthy looking and speaking with that smooth as silk voice actually made me sad, knowing how far he fell later in his career. The amateur boxing didn't help either. And every scene he is in gives this movie energy, and I loved it. And I don't know how many times Mickey Rourke is going to come up in this podcast. So there, Mickey Rourke is my MVP.
That's so solid. Yeah.
All right.
Without him, they couldn't have had all those arsons. So
that's right.
Essential.
He was really good. Yeah.
Earning.
He was excellent.
Okay. So it is now time for the most important part of our podcast.
Something in this field could be releasing the chemical into the air when there's too many of us together.
Don't eyeball me, boy. I see your mother driving up and down the street looking at me. I'll be your stepfather about a week.
It's a bad time, Bob. I'm serious. If I leave now, I'm not coming back.
You ever hear the expression, you got a face only a mother can love?
Let's just stay ahead of the wind.
That is our bumper for wall casting, where we recast somebody from this film with Mark Wahlberg. Yes, I love this. I look forward to this the most every week. I think about
Highlight
this.
of my Monday, baby.
I toil over this all week long. So here we go. Sam, who are we recasting in this film with? With Mark Wahlberg.
This is tough for me because honestly, I feel like he could fit into a bunch of roles in this movie pretty well. I feel like he could do the Mickey Rourke. He could do William Hurt. It'd be weird a little bit, but he I don't know. I'm gonna pick. I don't know if it's. I really haven't given this much thought.
Kathleen Turner.
He couldn't. Ted Danson wouldn't play. I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think. I guess.
Do you want us to come back to you?
He could do the Richard Crenna role. I mean, he'd be like, tough, and he'd be like, kind of like, if you put the glasses on, he'd be like, "We take care of problems, And I don't like it when I track my wife down. You know what I'm saying? It'd be weird, but he could do that, I suppose. I don't know. It's a tough one. I guess, yeah, that's what I picked.
I mean,
But
he did do that movie where he's like a stalker, right?
that's true. Fear,
Mm.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Let me in the house.
Right,
It's like-
Ellie,
Kathleen Turner.
Yeah,
you would replace
Yeah.
Kathleen with
it'd be a different movie, but
Oh
It'd
yeah,
be a different movie.
Sure.
all the
Sure.
way.
I would do the Ted Danson role as Mark Wahlberg.
He could
I
do
think he's
that.
got an
yeah.
earnestness.
He'd
I
do
think he could
everything,
pull it
yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be sad to lose Ted Danson, but he could
I
do it.
know. I thought about that as well. This was hard. I think it would be so easy to recast J.A. Preston because he plays the detective, but we've been down that road so many
Yeah,
times
exactly.
already lately.
So has Mark
And-
Wahlberg.
And
Yeah.
and I just showered Mickey Rourke with all this praise, how he's the MVP of this film. But there is no doubt in my mind that if I had to recast someone in this film with Mark Wahlberg, I'd put him in the role as Teddy. And I would totally expand his screen time, though, in this movie, though. I think Mark would be great as the arsonist friend of Ned, who, of all the associates, probably has his best interest at heart. I think because Mark has that kind of soft-spoken, like, I'm just looking out for you. I think he could do it.
Looking out for you,
know?
buddy. Don't do this. Don't go down this road. It's wrong.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
But
I see
I
it.
want him to have
Was
a bigger.
this
I
in-
want him to have a bigger role in the movie, though.
Was this in Wahlberg's Calvin Klein era? Wasn't he a Calvin Klein model? Because I feel like
Yes.
that colors this movie a
It
little
was, but it's kind of it was sort of early for that. Maybe not. I don't know, but
It's too early
I don't
for
remember.
Calvin Klein. He
This is
didn't come to
it's
early
Calvin
for
Klein
Calvin
till
Klein.
like 90s, I think, maybe.
This is
Oh,
Late
1981.
80s.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was rapping
So-
before that.
That's right. Yeah. Funky Bunch.
All right. Excellent. All right. So I think we can.
Or getting in
Close
trouble, going
the-
to jail. So one or the other.
All right. I think we can close the book on Body Heat. This was a fun discussion. Thank you, everyone. All right, we're going to transition to our next segment, but first, I just want to express gratitude for tuning into our show. Your feedback on our discussion of Body Heat means a lot to us. You can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for Back to the Frame Rate, or email us at backtotheframerate@gmail.com. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you have a moment, please consider leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your preferred podcast platform. We highly recommend that you subscribe to our newsletter, Frame Rate Monthly. The newsletter is packed with details about our podcast, including what we're currently watching, upcoming discussion topics, and upcoming retrospective series, interactive polls, and other engaging content. To subscribe to our newsletter, simply send an email to us at backtotheframerate@gmail.com and include newsletter in the subject line. And speaking of interactive polls, we have a poll that we're doing this month, and it goes through the end of November. And I think what we're going to do is we'll release the poll results on the last episode of this month. But the question is, what is your favorite decade of film noir / neo-noir films? And that's the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s or 90s. And just to give an example, like 1940s would be films like Double Indemnity or Maltese Falcon, The Third Man, Notorious. Perhaps 1950s movies like Sunset Boulevard, Touch of Evil, Strangers on a Train, In a Lonely Place. 1960s, a couple examples would be like In Cold Blood, Cape Fear, Point Blank. 1970s, like Chinatown, Night Moves, Taxi Driver, perhaps, or The Long Goodbye. 1980s, so it's the genre that the decade we're doing now, Blade Runner, perhaps, or Blue Velvet, Blood Simple. Or the 1990s, like LA Confidential, One False Move, Seven, I think would fall into that category, or even Fargo. So, a couple examples. Participate in our poll, and I'll put the link in the show notes. So let's get to our next segment, our recommendation shelf.
Hello, welcome to Masterpiece Video. How may I help you this afternoon, sir?
I'm looking for a copy of 8½.
Is that a new release, sir?
No, it's the classic Italian film.
Yes, sir. Just check that on the computer for you, sir. Hello, how are you young ladies this afternoon? May I help you find a particular masterpiece movie?
No.
Yes, here it is. 9.5 weeks with Mickey Rourke. That would be in the erotic drama section.
No, not 9½, 8½. The Fellini film.
How about that? Get it. I'm sure it sucks. All these movies suck.
That is our bumper.
That'll be me like at the end. That movie sucks. All this movie sucks.
That is one of our bumpers for our recommendation shelf, which
was Mickey in 9.5 weeks?
I'm sorry?
Was he in that movie 9.5 weeks?
Mickey Rourke?
Yeah.
Yes. That was erotic drama.
Yeah, I actually like that movie.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Maybe we'll have a erotic drama April. I don't know.
Easter erotic dramas.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there we go.
That's
perfect.
Easter,
perfect.
really, babe? Easter? My mom's gonna kill me.
We should have a Mark Wahlberg march. Mark and march. March. March.
Marky March. Marky March.
I love that.
Someone never sets in Somerville, yo. Never sets.
He does not like being called Marky Mark.
That's true.
Okay, well, you can't hear me. So.
Well, this week our recommendation shelf is going to be Femme Fatale films. Perfect tie-in to this week's film review, and yeah, I can't wait to hear what everyone has for their selection. So, do we need to define what a femme fatale is to our audience, or do you think that's obvious to the world?
People got it.
I think people got it. So, Sam, you give me that look.
Oh, I know. I did. I was actually honestly, I was just looking at myself going, wow, I'm attractive. Anyway. Yeah.
But hey, who better than to tell somebody that you're attracted than yourself?
So
that's true. Thank you, Ellie. Roger Moore here.
I'm just going to read this. I'm sure our listeners out there know what a femme fatale is, but a femme fatale, sometimes called a man-eater or a vamp, is a stock character of a mysterious, beautiful, and seductive woman who charms or ensnares her lovers, often leading them into compromising, deadly traps. There you go. So let's get into our picks this week. Sam.
I'm going to go with 2002's Best Picture winner, actually, Chicago. Excellent movie. Usually, in general, sometimes movie musicals are not my main genre, my thing, but I love that film. I thought it was amazing. I think Catherine Zeta-Jones and Renee Zellweger are both brilliant femme fatales in that movie, because it's all about manipulating the media to get out of guilt and obsessed with fame. And Richard Gere is the cynical but very powerful Chicago lawyer. That movie has some of the best editing in cinema that I've ever seen. And one device that I love in that movie is sometimes in musicals, people just break into song in the middle of what they're doing. That movie makes the distinction between the real world and the fantastical musical world, where all the music scenes are kind of like imagined scenes. And then it goes back to reality. And there's an incredible scene in a courtroom. I don't know the exact name of the song, but Richard Gere has a song like "Give Him the Old," like "Razzle Dazzle."
It's Razzle Dazzle.
Razzle Dazzle. Thank you. And it intercuts perfectly between the real courtroom to great metaphoric shots of him like playing with the judge and like women like in like devil outfits, like going around on swings and stuff like that. And it just the filmmaking is brilliant. 100% a great femme fatale movie, because they literally fit that definition. Multiple characters doing that film. And and I'm blown away by that movie. I remember my father wanted to see it when we were on a road trip. I was like, oh, all right, I guess. I kind of wanted to see Two Towers again, Lord of the Rings, because it was in the theater at the same time, and I saw Chicago and was just like blown away by it. Blown away. So that would be my pick.
All right. Thank you, Tim. I think that's not streaming now on Prime Video and Paramount Plus. So that's where people can find it. Great. Ellie, what have you got for your pick?
I just picked Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Okay.
Classic.
I like that
And I
movie.
love
Yeah.
the fact that they put these two actors together for this film because, for one, they're so good looking and I just enjoy looking at them. But Angelina Jolie is my favorite actress, or at least one of my top 5 favorite actresses in this world. And I love what she does. I love her. When you talk about how do you say that word? Femme fatale.
Yep. Femme Fatale.
I can't think of any other woman that's more seductive and mysterious and um
I
attractive
love Angelina.
than Angelina. She's just like the beauty. She's breathtaking. And so for me, this movie, I love the action. I love how they start like husband and wife, and they just they're obviously killers, assassins, and they're gonna get a job eventually where they're gonna go and try to kill each other. And I just love that because in real life some couples try to kill each other. But they don't, like just I shouldn't have said that, that's kind of like mean, but it's true. Hey, it happens. But even in the movie, the fact that they both have the same job, imagine working with someone. I don't know what it would be like if my husband was a doctor and I was a doctor as well. It's just gonna be like,
Be just like this.
yeah, we'll try to be like right about every diagnosis, and he'll be like, "No, this is how it is," and I'd be like, "No, this is how it is." And so, I loved it. I recommend it just because it's plain fun to watch and to watch those two together. And I think this is the film that started their real relationship, and then that's where they hook up and became a thing, and they have beautiful children now, but now they're divorced. So I guess the real Mr. and Mrs. Smith didn't work out after all. That's all I have to say.
All right. B, what have you got for your pick?
I went with Gone Girl this week. It was such a joy to rewatch Gone
Good
Girl.
choice.
I love David Fincher. And I think Amy Dunn is a brilliant femme fatale. When I first watched this movie when it came out in 2014, I really did not see that twist coming. I hadn't read the book. And it blew me away. I thought it was so well done. And watching it in the context of Body Heat and then rewatching Double Indemnity, I was like, this is the same movie every 30 or 40 years. And what a treat that we get to see this on screen for different generations. And it's done a little differently every time. And the femme fatale is revitalized and redesigned a little bit each time. But it's still that same thing of falsifying violence and manipulation and battle of the sexes. It was just an absolute treat, and it makes a good not a double feature, a triple feature with Double Indemnity and Body Heat.
Gone Girl really does
great.
like reinvent the genre too. Like that's a movie that goes like
Absolutely.
above and beyond and like modernizes it and like that's like
Really,
yeah.
It is
Yes.
fantastic. Yeah. All right. Am I up?
You're up.
I am up.
Rock and roll, Nathan.
I'm not ready, but yes. So I am. All right. So I have to. I'm phoning it in this week, guys, because of our review of Body Heat and the natural derivativeness to the Billy Wilder film noir classic. I feel and felt I had no choice but to recommend one of the OGs of the genre, 1943's Double Indemnity, and the lead performance from one Barbara Stanwyck. Now, I don't know
She's
for
perfect.
our listeners
So-
out there if I should assume that everyone has seen this 80-year-old film, but I'm guessing if you're a fan of Body Heat and film noir, neo-noir, that this is probably old hat. However, if this is a blind spot for anybody out there on anyone's radar, I think this is a must watch for any cinephile. A month or so ago, I shared, like I said, on my letterbox list of my ranked Billy Wilder films, and Double Indemnity is my number one of his. Barbara Stanwyck plays Phyllis Diedrichson, and in this bone-chilling performance, she is the quintessential femme fatale of this genre. She's cunning and manipulative, and the way she seduces Fred McMurray is a masterclass in playing morally complex and ambiguous characters. She plays her character on the surface full of desperation and loneliness, but there's also a vulnerability to her. Very multi-dimensional performance. So she wears also, like I said before, this white dress that I can't help but think was a heavy influence on the wardrobe that Kathleen Turner wore
That's such
of
a
Maddie,
great.
those scenes in Body
Yes.
Heat. So I don't have much to say about this. I rewatched it again this week just because I wanted to have it on in the background, and it's just so good. It is a must see. Watch it over and over again. So that is my pick. Barbara Stanwyck as Phyllis Diedrichson in Double Indemnity. My
I think
all-time favorite femme fatale.
I think people should watch more Barbara Stanwyck in general.
Yeah. Okay. So those are our recommendations for this week. And we're going to move on to our last segment, our movie musings, where each of us will just mention what we have been watching or want to watch, or anything we want to share in the world of movies, news, or anything. And we will begin with Sam. Anything you want to share with us?
This is a little bit, it's brief, but it's a little bit of a non sequitur because I have not watched any movies this week. But I will say briefly that I'm looking forward to rewatching probably the Lord of the Rings trilogy over the holidays, because I've actually been rereading the Lord of the Rings, the book, and there are 3 books, but I mean, I just have like a one large volume edition. And I will simply say that when I read it when I was 16, that was the last time I read it, I enjoyed it. But a lot of the descriptions of landscapes and details and history kind of went right over my head. Now, over 25 years later, as someone who has traveled a lot and done a lot of hiking and hiked mountains in Scotland and gone all over the place, reading it now, I love Tolkien's description of landscape because I'm realizing that he's basing it off his own experience, whether it was walking around in the Alps or England. So it has a whole new meaning for me, and the richness of the mythology and the transporting feel of that book just blow me away. And it's been a long time, so I'm going to go through it, finish it, and then go back to the 3 films and see how they compare. I will say briefly that of the 3 films, though, Two Towers is not the best film critically wise. One of the reasons I've always enjoyed it so much is because The Fellowship of the Ring has a lot of setup to do and a lot of building. Return of the King has a lot of payoff to do. So they're like these 2 very
17 endings.
Exactly. They're like these 2 really well-constructed mansions, where for me, Two Towers, the movie, is like this fun, like Wet n Wild water slide that connects the other 2 movies because it doesn't have to resolve anything. So it's just fast, action, build up, suspense, Gollum, Battle of Helm's Deep. And it was one of the best movie theater experiences I ever had in my life. 2002, 11:15 a.m. in the morning. Leicester Square, London, saw it with my father, sold out show, and I was just like blown away. So Lord of the Rings,
be watching the theatrical cut or the extended cut?
I will
There's
be
no one
watching
answer to
the
this.
extended cut
Yes.
because
Yes.
I've already seen the theatrical cut and I have the extended cut, and I want to see all the detailed scenes. Having
Oh,
just
it's
read
so
the
good.
book, I don't want to lose any of that stuff. So
Only way
definitely
to watch
extended
those
cut.
is the
Yeah.
extended cut. I was doing pub trivia early last year, and one of the trivia questions was, what is the exact running time of all 3 Lord of the Rings movies,
Oh my God.
down to the minute? And our team, you know what, for some reason I can't remember what our answer was, but out of like 23
Gotta be
teams,
close to 10
we
out.
got the closest. I don't know. We figured it out and got it. We couldn't use Google or anything like that, but we figured it out.
What would it be like? Wait, like
Got to be close to
But
10 hours.
but we had to go back to the guy, the MC. Like, are you talking about
I'm going to say
the extended
13,
cut?
13
Well,
hours.
because I think they're
Yeah.
not all. I think the first one is not over 3 hours. It's like 172 minutes, and like it's like only the third
theatrical
one is
cut,
crazy
yeah.
long.
The third one
Yeah.
theatrical is 3 hours,
It's the
20 minutes.
longest.
The special
Yeah.
edition is
It's
4
like 3
hours,
hours.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud that the six of us got that question right. Down within like 2-3 minutes, we got it like right. So yeah.
That's awesome.
He
Damn,
looked over at
those
us
are
like, who are these nerds? They
Sam.
got
Those
it
are
within
the
2 minutes. Everyone else thought like, what are those, like 2-hour movies? I'm like,
No,
or,
and
like,
then-
no,
Oh,
those
God.
movies are that.
Then just like the main character in Revenge of the Nerds, you were like,
Yeah.
Sam, those are the movies that got me into movies. Those came out. I'm gonna just tell everyone what an infant I am. Those came out when I was in middle school, and my
wow.
dad was still alive at the time. And core memory for me, he said that he had a doctor's appointment that day, so I didn't go to school, and he kept me out of school every time the films were released, and we played hooky.
Mm.
And went
Oh,
to
that's
the movie
incredible.
theater for each one of those movies. So that was yeah, that's my memory with my dad. It's the
What a
best.
great memory.
Yeah.
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 All right. Thank you. So Ellie, what do you want to share with us?
So I watched three different type of movies. I saw Downsizing with Matt Damon, Jason Sudeikis, and obviously one of my
Is that
favorite.
any good?
Holdover is coming out soon, or is it out already?
It's out.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
It's on Netflix.
No, I'm talking about
Was
Holdover.
Downsizing
That's the
good,
new Alexander Payne movie. That's why.
Which
I
one?
mentioned it.
That comes
Holdovers.
out November 10th theatrically, I think. Yeah.
It's already out, limited.
Which
Ooh, cool.
which
Hopefully.
movie?
Holdovers.
The
The other
Holdovers.
the new Alexander
Yeah,
Payne
yeah,
movie. Yeah.
So, and Hong Shou is in that movie, and she stole the show for this film, in my opinion. Just watch it. That's all I'm gonna say. A Good
I haven't
Marriage.
seen it. I think it's the only Alexander Payne movie I have not seen.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's different. I saw A Good Marriage. Stephen King wrote that movie.
I don't know
That's
this
good.
one.
And it's a really interesting A Good Marriage. Basically, Anthony LaPaglia is a serial killer in this movie. Of course.
Is it more uplifting than A Marriage Story?
You
God.
know, it's more action, I guess. No, I don't know. A Marriage Story was. I love A Marriage Story, so I can't even go there. So A Good Marriage, and just basically,
A double feature, maybe.
the best part of that movie is when the wife kills the serial killer, who happens to be her husband, and then the detective finds out that that's what she did, and then the detective she tries to kill the detective, but then she doesn't succeed. But in the end, the detective forgives her and tells her, "I don't know anything. You didn't do anything." But it's a great film. It's fun to watch. If you like that kind of Stephen King kind of movies.
All right.
And then I watched A Family Man with one of my favorite, Gerard Butler. He's hot. William Defoe. He's such a great actor, by the way, William.
He's amazing.
Awesome.
Oh my God. He did such a.
Did you see The Lighthouse?
Huh?
Did you see The Lighthouse? I thought he was amazing.
Yes, I did.
Did
I
anyone
watched
see
Yeah.
Inside yet?
No,
No.
I almost did it the other day and I didn't, but I want to see it. And I just love him as an actor,
I think
and
it's on
he's very
Prime.
versatile of an actor. He can go anywhere, but in this film, he makes me want to punch him so bad. He really does, because he plays
So many movies inspiring you to violence, Ellie.
listen, he plays this corporate dude who's just cutthroat, and A Family Man is a story about a father who's so invested in his job that totally misses a lot of his kids and family and marriage and wife's days, because he wants to make money, 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 so much that one of his kids, the oldest son, ends up getting a cancer. And oh, I cry my eyes out with this movie. Uh, but it has a great ending. The kid doesn't die.
Oh,
And it's
don't
just,
ruin it for us.
oh, I'm sorry, but I just did. Okay.
But I wanted him to die.
But there's more to it. It's just Gerard Butler. There's a scene where, oh, he made me feel it. When he made me feel it. I'm not gonna say this scene, but he's going into the hospital, and he just, oh, that's a great movie. It's a great movie.
But going back to William Defoe, I really think you would like Inside Ellie. That's on streaming on,
Did
on
you
Prime.
watch yet? Because I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
twice
I
I almost hit the play button, and I
think it's
went
right
to
up your
a
alley.
different movie.
It's him trapped with himself in this high-end apartment. He's like a high-end art thief, and he gets stuck in there for weeks on end, and it's
Something,
intense. I think you
William
like this.
is such a his art, the acting. I just I just love it. Like
Yeah.
I can watch him
Yeah.
I
and
think
try to learn acting from him just by watching his films.
watch Inside. It is just William Defoe just acting his ass off for 2 hours
Really?
by himself. Yeah,
Okay.
it's great.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
have to
right up
do
your
that
alley.
this weekend because yeah.
Yeah.
Been meaning
Florida
to.
Project too. Florida
Oh,
Project's
so
great.
good. Florida Project is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, I haven't seen
And
that
I've
one.
seen that movie 3 times.
Oh, it's so
Really?
It's
good. Yeah, it's wonderful.
heartbreaking too.
Florida
It's
Project. I'm gonna have to put it
heartbreaking.
It's
on my
hard to
list.
watch.
Really?
He's
It's
so
really
good in that.
it's really masochistic of you to have seen it 3 times, but
I
it
got
is.
It's Defoe,
It's
right?
great.
So
It's only because like I'm just hypnotized by him in that movie, and I don't know.
The
Something,
cinematography.
something. Oh, that she's talking about the Florida Project, but
Florida
Inside,
Project.
yeah.
I know. When did that come out, Florida Project?
I think 2017 maybe or
I've lost
2018.
all concept of time, so I don't know.
That's Sean Baker though, same guy that did Tangerine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put him on my list.
And he also did what was the one that came out 2 years ago, which I really liked too. About the ex porn star that comes back to his town in like Texas.
Red Rocket.
Red Rocket. It was fun. That was fun.
I
didn't
haven't
see
seen
that
one
one.
either.
I haven't seen
I
that was
like
on my
Sean
list,
Baker
and
a
it
lot.
just like I just didn't get around to it. But
You
for Willem
recommend that
Dafoe,
one to me?
Tommaso too.
I think it's a fun movie. I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's also hard movie to watch, but it's uncomfortable. An uncomfortable
I think that's
kind
what
of
William does,
movie.
though. He makes you feel uncomfortable. He makes
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
brings you there.
Makes you feel something. That's for
Yeah.
sure. All right. All right. We covered Ellie. We covered Sam. B.
Yeah, man, I didn't have a great movie week. It does pick up at the end, but I started real week with Strays. I was trying to catch up on some movies that had been released this year. Don't recommend. That was not good. Watch
That's
My
the
Big Fat Greek
talking
Wedding
dog
3. The
movie.
first one's fine. You don't need to see the other two. Stop. And then watch. I think it's Quiz Lady. This started the uptick. That was really fun. Aquafina and Sandra Oh, they have great chemistry together. It was a fun movie. It wasn't. Finally, I needed to lift my spirits, so I went to go see another great noir movie. I went to see The Killer by the one and only David Fincher. And it's playing at the Coolidge Corner Theater for those of you in Massachusetts, and it was fantastic. David Fincher is just on an insane run. I loved it. I thought it was a real commentary on his legacy and on the archetype of anti-heroes that he creates. It was funny. It was so much funnier than he's really given himself uh, liberty to be, I think.
I wish it had a longer theatrical release, you know?
It's going to
Everyone
be
in
on
that movie acted
Netflix,
their butts
and
off. It
by the
was
time this
incredible.
episode airs, it's going to be on Netflix. I think on November 10th.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
wish they'd given it more of a chance in the theater. I would love to do that. But
it is. It is odd. It's just deal with Netflix though. It's just like the Mank, which came out a couple years ago.
That's right. Yeah,
It's just it's his deal with Netflix right now.
that makes sense.
It releases, yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'll probably have to wait till it comes to Netflix
I
because
Me
will
too.
say though,
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna lose a lot being on a smaller screen. I think there's some movies where you're like, I have to see this on the big screen. I think this will translate. I think you can see this at home.
yeah.
As much of an issue I have with the whole production and distribution, but
All right. I also caught up with a couple new releases this week. Even though I didn't have a lot of time, I just squeezed a few things in. I saw When Evil Lurks. This is the new Argentinian horror film from director Damien Rugna. It is a curious new spin on the demonic possession genre. It's about these people who live in a small town, and one of the residents is infected. In this film, they refer to the possessed as the rotten, and the people that would kill them as cleaners. It's one of the things I did enjoy about this movie is that it has its own lore, its own terminology for many of the situations that we're used to in films like this. The movie centered around two brothers and follows them as they attempt to save the people around them. But of course, not much goes according to plan. This film is morbid to the extreme. Not so much graphically, but thematically, there are some horrific elements in this film that I would definitely say, could trigger parents of young children. So be warned. This film is getting a ton of love all around, but for me, I thought it was pretty good, but not my top film of the year or anything like that. If anything, I definitely do think that director Damien Rugna is someone I do want to follow up on and see more of his previous films, and I look forward to more of his upcoming projects. So it's interesting. So it's streaming on Shudder right now. I think it's the only place you can find it right now. I also saw this past week The Burial from director Maggie Betts. This film stars Tommy Lee Jones, Jamie Foxx, and Jernay Smollett. I think I'm saying her name right. This is based on a true story about the pairing up of a funeral home owner played by Tommy Lee Jones and the eccentric personal injury lawyer played by Fox, who is convinced to take on this contract law case. If you enjoy courtroom melodrama, this film delivers. It's based on an actual trial, but it is mentioned that the facts of the trial have been dramatized for the film, and I have a feeling that this movie has a very loose interpretation of what really happened. Nonetheless, it does have a very entertaining performance from Jamie Foxx, who I would best summarize as a Johnny Cochran-esque performance. The film very much calls out Cochran as one of Fox's his character's idols in the movie as well. Tommy Lee Jones is playing Tommy Lee Jones in the most Tommy Lee Jones-esque performance I've ever seen. Pretty much giving what he normally gives to a role like this. I do want to give a shout out to one of the supporting actors in here. I'm going to completely botch his name, but it's Mamadou Athi, I think is how you say his name. I botched it completely. He has a supporting role as Hal Dawkins, who is one of the members of the legal team. He is really great in this. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything before. I think he was in one of the Jurassic World movies. I don't remember him in it, but he was by far the MVP of this movie. He was fantastic. This film was fine, but I don't think it's necessarily something you have to immediately start watching. It's a good stay in on a cold winter day type of movie. So maybe catch up on it sometime this November, December when you got nothing else to do. So it's on Prime Video. Those are the two main things I just want to mention. Like I said before, I did catch up. I watched again Double Indemnity. I did also continue my Robert Altman retrospective. I rewatched McCabe and Miss Miller. I actually watched some of it last night and today. And man, that movie still is amazing. It is a revisionist Western. I'm still kind of digesting it. I haven't seen it in ages. I think at some point I want to maybe for our newsletter write write an article on my retrospective for Robert Altman, but maybe I'll do something for that. But I'm having a really good time rewatching all these old Robert Altman films. So yeah, that is what I have been watching this past week. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I'm trying to think. No, that's about it. Yeah. All right. And I'm way behind on Better Call Saul. I'm in middle of season 4. I'm way behind, but I'm getting there. I will catch up someday.
Great show. Great show.
Good
All
show.
right.
Nate, what are we watching next week?
We are watching next week. We are continuing our 80s neo-noir retrospective. We are moving on to 1984's Brian De Palma. Yes, Brian De Palma's Body Double.
Just
sometimes gets confused with Body Heat, but Body Double, which guess what? I have never seen this. I don't recall ever seeing this. So I'm really psyched for this. This is the only movie in our retrospective that I have not seen. So will be the Blu-ray came in today. If it wasn't so late, I'd start it tonight. This my Blu-ray actually has a whole bunch of I think several special features in it. Actually, hold on, don't go anywhere.
So you watch your movies on Blu-ray?
Hold the for Noir-Vember, I'm getting them all on Blu-ray because I want to collect these. You guys hold the fort down for a second.
I might actually do the same thing.
We're watching Body Double, it's called, next week. I just that's to confirm. Okay, cool. What year was that?
Yeah. I'm gonna throw it in the chat. Body Double is Brian De Palma, and it is 1984. So we are slowly cranking through the 80s.
I just can't wait for Black Rain.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Be great. We're gonna end on a super cool note.
Nice.
All right, we got 4 featurettes, interviews with Brian De Palma, Melanie Griffith, and Greg Henry, Dennis Franz.
Oh, cool!
So I'm looking forward to this. I'm really excited, happy that I'm building up my Blu-ray collection. I don't have enough, and I want to have more. So yeah.
I'm doing the same.
The only Blu-ray that I bought that I regret buying before seeing the movie was Cannonball Run, because I thought it was going to be like this amazing Burt Reynolds film, and it was like they didn't. It was just not good. Yeah.
Do they still make Blu-ray machines?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just use it like play them off my like PlayStation 4, but you know.
Yeah. I have a bone to pick with Blu-ray cases. I think they need to upgrade them. If you're not in a sort of collector's boutique Blu-ray, like Criterion, obviously those look like collector's items and so do some of the Scream Factory stuff. But that big blue chunky bit at the top, man, that's got to go. We got to start getting some better cover art on our blues.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. Any last words before we close it out?
No.
This
was fun.
Well, that concludes our show for this week. We sincerely appreciate your listenership this week. As a final reminder, if you're enjoying what you hear, please consider leaving a rating and review. Your support truly brightens our day. The ideal platforms for this are Apple Podcasts or whichever platform you use to access our content. To stay updated, don't forget to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, Frame Rate Monthly, by sending an email to backtotheframerate@gmail.com. Back to the Frame Rate is a proud member of the Weston Media Podcast Network. Stay connected with us on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. You can find at Back to the Frame Rate. And of course, the most effective way to support us is by sharing our episodes on your social media feeds or platforms. Your support means the world to us. That's it. The show is over. Goodbye.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.